Welcome back, guys. Keys to the Rock, episode 6. It's been a long time. Blazer Ben, joined by Athletic Dan. And Danny, I don't know if you rode here, but it's been a long time. It's good to see you.
I'm loving it, man. You missed me, didn't you?
I miss you, mate.
Blazer Ben. Call me Danny. I've never heard that one before. Athletic Dan, Danny. Happy to be back. One time, actually, get it right out the way. As you guys probably have seen, we are now sponsored by the great CG. Insurance.
Good like that.
Good like that. We also have another sponsor with Green Light.
Yeah.
I don't know what their tagline is, but it's probably not good like that. But they're good guys. They're good people over there. And then we actually have a partnership with Bear News. So you can find all our episodes on Bear News moving forward. And
a few other exciting sponsorships and announcements to come in the coming months. So really appreciate all the collaborative efforts from various companies and people. And, just shows how relatable real estate is to so many different industries.
100%. Yeah. And before we also forget, we're on episode 6 right now. But if you have not checked out episode 5, go do yourself a favor, hit subscribe first on YouTube or wherever you watch your podcast or follow your podcast. And also, we had Greyman. So a big thank you to Alex Takudo. He came and shared a lot of knowledge, got a lot of feedback about that episode in terms of people really just found it as very informative.
Yeah, it was the best episode until today, I would say. And
I think we say that every time. I think that's just going to be our running joke.
Just to make the guests feel good.
Yeah.
But massive thank you to Alex. And obviously, there's so many uncertain things about construction, even that we probably get from appraisers and being in the industry day to day. As an agent, people ask questions all the time about how to do things or how much would it cost. And, we're kind of plucking numbers out of the air from what we hear. But it was great.
Speak for yourself. I have a process.
You have a process. But no, it's great to kind of, dispel a lot of myths and understand, really. I mean...
Yeah. And would you get an SKB?
No, I knew that was going to come up. My roof is fine for the extension that we did, but maybe not for future projects. Okay. I don't know.
Yeah, good to know. Speaking about future projects, I mean, it doesn't really tie in because it's not a future project. But tell me about where we're at right now, Ben. You can hear a little bit of. Tell me about where we're at, Ben.
Yeah. So. We're on Knapton Hill, and this amazing property that we've listed probably about a couple of weeks ago now. It's been super active with activity. In terms of, I guess, what you're alluding to, definitely it has massive potential as a project. I mean, looking around here, neighboring house was in the 2s, house up on the hill sold for just shy of $4 million. So Knapton Hill, it's really all about, as we know, location, and the potential upside to any investment that goes into a property. So a great spot, and glad that we can, thank you to the sellers for allowing us access today.
No, for sure. And as from my appraisal background, I guess I'll say, Smith's is always a high demand area. It's the parish that most people are really highly sought after. And it's a beautiful property. So it's got a lot of opportunity. I think we're doing a spotlight or something right now where you might see drone footage or I don't know what's going on. But anyway.
Well, a lot of people who know all about real estate are, certainly agents. And I'm just giving you a little plug. So what about agents? What agents do we have on today?
Okay. I misread that. It's been a while. You guys can tell it's been a while.
Yeah.
We don't have our usual, I don't know.
What agents? Who are our guests today, Dan?
All right,
let's talk about our guests.
So we have Rachel Sawden and Thosh Williams, new agents, lovely ladies, and they'll be coming on basically just sort of share their experience of why they got involved in real estate. How is their, I'll say 1 year, but it's probably might have been longer for both of them. How has their experience been in the real estate industry, especially during this busy period where it's just a lot going on. So they're gonna shine light basically on what it would take to be a real estate agent and give you all of the behind the scenes and all the stuff that you don't see on Selling Sunsets and $1 Million Listing. They're going to give you all of that, you know, and we're excited to have them. And
they talk the truth, because real estate, as many people see it on social media or whatever it might be, it seems like, sometimes I actually remember Ryan Serhant from in New York. He actually did a YouTube video, and it said, kind of sharing, some people say, okay, $1 million house, 5%, $50,000, and he actually shared like how much you actually get in your pocket, and just to say it's not what it seems like on TV and everything like that. No, and all the various deductions
how it all
and everything.
breaks down.
So you know, there's a lot that goes into it, and it takes certain people, certain personalities to actually ride the wave and not get too discouraged. And especially in a time now where even meetings and things like that, everything's done remotely, so it's a busier market. But it's definitely different, and the way that you have to do business now and in the years to come as things become more remote and more kind of technology based or reliant, I would say.
No, 100%. And since you sort of touched on it itself, I mean, let's go over, I guess, a bit of marketing commentary. I mean, we're gonna keep this very short, very brief, because they have a lot of information to share. We've got 2 guests for the first time, so that's the first. I'm excited for one of our future partnerships because it's going to help Ben dress. I went off key right there, but
this guy, different polo, different show. But
but tell me about the market right now. What are you seeing right now? November 2021.
I mean, being as real as we always want to be. I mean, I would say, without a doubt, as we know, with the last 18 months to 2 years, it has been crazy. However, I would say, maybe within the last like 2-ish months, 3 months, I've actually and I've spoken to a lot of different agents, different agencies and things like that.
I was going to make a joke about you, but all right, you're talking to people.
Talking to a lot of the agents who are
sorta,
typically busy in our company at other companies, who are all friendly with, and everyone's sort of noticing a little bit of a slowdown. I mean, sometimes with a brand new listing in a great location, let's say 6 months ago, there'd be easily 10 to 20 showings and multiple offers. Now, still, depending on the listing, we are still seeing that, but it is just a little bit slower. Maybe there's like single-digit showings within the first week or two, which is still great, still way better than what we were performing at before. But it is so important to understand what agents have been saying about not wanting to miss the boat. If you're a seller, it's still a seller's market, without a doubt. The market's great right now. Everyone's still busier and doubling their numbers, if not tripling what they previously did. But I do think, just as this is always cyclical, I think we might be kind of going over a little, not going into a slump, but it's just a little bit slow.
So you heard it here first. Ben Rego said we're going into a slump.
No, but now as we're getting to the holidays as well.
Things slow down over the holiday period.
I just noticed it's just a little bit slower. But personally, I think we would all agree, I mean, it's better to have a little bit more of a balanced market. It's incredibly stressful for buyers, for sellers as well, for agents, for everyone involved when things are just like absolutely rapid fire and bidding wars and gazumping and everything going on.
It's just it creates an unhealthy and a sort of toxic sort of environment. So I completely agree. But I guess on that note, let's bring in our great guests. All right. So
let's get them on the show.
All right. And we're back. We are now joined by Thosh Williams and Rachel Sawden, and they're going to basically be telling us, well, actually, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So my name is Thosh Williams. I'm with Rego Sotheby's International Realty. I'm a global real estate advisor. Born and raised in Bermuda, but lived and worked in Halifax for a bit, and then I moved back to Bermuda 2 years ago. Got into managing vacation rentals for a short bit, and guest concierge, and then the pandemic hit, so I decided to transition into real estate, and loved it ever since. Nice.
And Rachel?
Rachel Sawden. Woman of many things and randomness.
As it goes, yes.
Born and raised in Bermuda. I'm now a real estate agent with Rego Sotheby's International Realty. Prior to that, I have worked in all sorts of things, from sales to marketing, broadcasting, social media, content creation.
All right, we're going to run out of time on the show.
I was going to say, Richie's written a book.
I'm a free diver and an international woman of mystery.
Okay, so Rachel, tell us what you haven't done. It's just easier that way, huh?
She could do the show better than us, I mean, with her experience with all of this. But guys, I mean, it's obviously with the pandemic and everything, it is a time that is very uncertain for so many. And certainly we know that, surprisingly, the real estate market has been very busy. But so what was it? I mean, Thosh, you just kind of alluded to that a little bit. What was it that actually caused you guys to have an interest in wanting to get involved in real estate?
I think Thosh and I kind of came in on similar kind of wavelengths and paths because we knew each other actually beforehand through doing vacation rentals. So I was running a property called Sandy Mount in Bailey's Bay, as a luxury vacation villa.
Yeah.
And Thosh was doing Elevate Host Services with her husband. And that's how we got acquainted at first. And then the pandemic hit and it became a very bad time to be in tourism. And Sandy Mount found some tenants who were absolutely lovely and wanted to rent it full time. And I needed a next step, and real estate
Had to
kind
pivot, yeah.
had to pivot, and real estate kind of seemed like a good pivot. I'm used to creating my own hours, just kind of left to do my thing. I know how to show a house, market a house, so it kind of just made sense.
Yeah, no, I can definitely relate to that because it's similar sort of how I transitioned to real estate. Just, a lot of skill sets that you guys would be using for other jobs and stuff like that can really just transition well into real estate. So, I can definitely appreciate where you're coming from on that too.
Yeah, definitely. For me, so I have been on the journey to become a realtor for a very long time. I actually took a real estate course in Halifax,
Okay.
and I was set to be working at a Royal LePage Atlantic. So I was managing a workspace there for a few months before my grandmother took sick, and then I moved back to Bermuda. But yeah, otherwise I would have been still in Halifax and I'd be a realtor there. But I'm happy that things worked out the way they did and I got to move back and meet all these lovely people.
Just as a side, I mean, are you Canadian?
No, so I'm not. I'm Bermudian, but
Yeah,
my
yeah, yeah.
husband.
No, I knew,
my
like, if
husband
you were
is
dual.
Canadian.
Okay,
Yeah.
right. Because in Bermuda, just as a side note, in order to be a real estate agent, you have to be Bermudian or married to a Bermudian, or now you can be a belonger and be it. So I was just, actually, I'm learning a lot about these people that I didn't necessarily know.
All up in her pocket, man.
No, that's just
All
interesting. If
pocket,
you're gonna,
yeah.
be in
Yeah.
Canada, that's
No,
fascinating.
all right, that's what's up. Okay, awesome. So as you guys sort of mentioned, or as Ben sort of mentioned earlier in some of his comments, what is it like starting while things are so hectic and so busy for real estate agents? Like, the real estate market right now, or when you guys would have started, has sort of just been on go. What was that like? Like, what was that experience like? Just coming in and things are just busy.
Well, it's interesting. I think for coming in as a new agent, you, for one, you have to position yourself as an agent because people don't know that you are. So I think for Rachel and myself, I don't want to speak for Rachel, but I think we tried to align ourselves with agents who've been in the game for a long time. Like Margaret has been very lovely and taken us under her wing. And Ben, has offered us lots of great advice. Some of the other agents as well in the company. So I think just obviously fostering those connections has helped a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a weird time to be in it. It's a very weird time to get in, and it took a little while just because with pandemic and trying to get the training and everyone's schedule wasn't lining up, and there was lockdown, and then trying to it's just a lot going on and trying to do shadowing, but then at that time, there were restrictions on if you could go into a house with a tenant.
Yeah.
So it was just a very strange time just to get the experience because there were a lot of restrictions on even just being around people and being inside people's houses.
Yeah.
And it is a busy time, and the established agents have done so well. But as a new agent, to be like perfectly honest, it's been an extra grind because there are people who are motivated to buy, to sell, to take advantage of a market, but they want to work with the experienced agents. So it's been a bit of a grind to do, a complete professional rebrand while trying to get the experience in an environment that is very prohibitive, and also try to build, a network of people like, I like you as a person, you're so great, but I need to work with somebody who knows what they're doing, who is experienced.
That's so true. And I think it's important to not... I mean, right now, I think there's more real estate agents in Bermuda than there's probably ever been. And I think a lot of people sort of get lost in the, especially with the popularity of these TV shows and things like that we see in the States and everything. And it just seems like such an amazing lifestyle and thing, but it really is. There's so much work that goes on behind the scenes. You really have to cultivate those relationships and gain the trust of people. And it takes years. It really, really does take years. I mean, I can speak for myself. I know, Daniel, from your experiences and a lot of our agents. I mean, you mentioned Margaret Young. Margaret is from Ireland and came here and didn't have any connections. You know what I mean? So it takes a long time. That's without a doubt. And No, so it really does, as Daniel said, the reason that he got into real estate, I think many people, you have to have that entrepreneurial spirit and never get sort of too high when things are good or too low when things are bad, because it is always, always, always a roller coaster. And it's important to not get too lost in the, the fantasy of it all. So basically, I think my next question would be, what is the process? A lot of people who watch the show are kind of curious about real estate, or maybe thinking about taking the plunge. And, I know some people, you can take the exam or you can go take the course, but what's sort of the process that you guys went through?
So basically you have to sit the exam and find a firm willing to take you on and hold your license. I'm very sort of like shotgun in my approach to everything in life, where I'm just like, I'd make a decision. I'm like, cool, we're doing this right now. And so I pretty much decided, it was like the end of August. I was like, yep, this is what I'm going to do. And I had been in a few social situations with Penny. And so I talked to Penny about it, and she was so supportive, just like, oh my gosh, would love for you to come on.
Penny McIntyre.
Penny McIntyre, yeah. Partner at Rego Sotheby's International Realty. And, a few other people that I kind of bounced the idea off of it. And there was like, yeah, that would be great for you. Very green light.
Yeah.
And then even just getting a spot to sit the real estate exam was difficult because it's
Booked
only
and
limited.
busy.
And because of the pandemic, they have restricted numbers even less. So I wanted to, because I needed to do everything as soon as possible. I had called at the end of August, beginning of September I was like, get me on the first spot. And they said end of October. And I was like, I want sooner, but anyhow, I'll take it. Then the following week, I bought the book and I started studying as if, just in case a spot came up. Because I was like, if a spot comes up in September, please let me know.
Was it in person, or obviously it was in person still the exam?
Yes. Yeah. You go to the college and you sit down at the computer. And I happened to run into a friend who registered for September, and then she had to go away. And so she gave me her spot. So now I had 2.5 weeks to study.
Cram.
And
Nice.
I like memorized the book. I got like flashcard app, and but I sat down in the exam. I'm like, where is all of this?
Yeah. A lot of it.
It's, so don't rely on the book being your only source of information. Thankfully I passed, but it was.
Pass first time? Ben took it 3 times. Ben took it 3 times.
But then people like, did you do the course at the college? I was like, there was a course? So you can do it a few different ways, but it's a challenging exam.
Just quickly before Thosh, that textbook though, and I think it's so important because a lot of newer agents, they speak to me about the textbook like, oh my gosh, I'm freaking out about these certain terms or whatever it is. I promise you, just like even if you're in university, probably 70% of the stuff in the book isn't actually, it teaches you how to become a real estate agent, but not how to be a real estate agent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't put things.
Got to be hands-on.
Yeah, it's just definitions and stuff like that. And I remember, I always reference this one, riparian rights, which I don't know if any.
Oh yes, that's like on a waterway.
River rights.
Yeah,
it's about river rights, and like if something drifts from your property downstream to mine, there's no rivers in Bermuda, but that was actually on my exam.
Yeah.
So half the stuff isn't as applicable.
Yeah, but it's a multiple choice exam, so a lot of the times you can just like cancel out at least 2 of the answers, and then hope for the best on the next ones.
And it was pretty similar for you then?
Yeah, it was obviously very similar.
Yeah.
I instead of studying for 2 weeks, I studied for probably at least 2 or 3 months.
Oh, nice.
She's like, I studied for 2 days.
I didn't wing it.
One up to Rego.
And then, so Rachel sort of already had an idea of which company, from the sound of it, which company she was probably going to be pushed towards. What about you? I know you might have had like a little bit more of a process to it.
Well, I interviewed 2 companies, and I was like, "Well, what are you guys offering me?" I was like, you're interviewing me, but I'm also interviewing you. So I just, at the end, I was like, well, I'm gonna go with where I'm gonna get the best mentorship, and I think I made a good choice.
Yeah, because that's what I find is, I was originally discouraged when I first started out in real estate because it's very eat what you kill, and I've always been. I say eat what you kill. That's sort of Ben's term, but it's, you're not going to have overnight success. You can't expect to, you can't count your chickens before they hatch, or I don't know if that's the saying or whatever.
All my lines. Yeah.
Chill out.
We know each other well.
But it's one of those things where you really have to get skin in the game, and you have to build up a rapport, a reputation, and you really have to brand yourself, and people have to know that you're an agent and reach out to you in that fashion. And so it's one of those things where it's like, if people don't know, they don't ask, and then you just miss out on so many. I'm not gonna say fumble the bag, but because and then at the same time, it's like you guys would have passed the exam, but I know I passed the exam and I didn't feel like I still knew how to be a real estate agent.
Exactly.
You know, I just started feeling comfortable probably after a university degree and 3 years of experience to be able to put myself out there and be knowledgeable enough to be able to share and talk on it. So I completely get where you guys are coming from in that sense. And I say that to say is like, that's the one thing that I will definitely always share with anyone who's interested in becoming a real estate agent. It's just not something that you just pass a test and bang. It doesn't happen like that.
Yeah, it's not going to happen overnight. It's if you have no grit, this is not an industry for you. You're going to come in here and you're going to grind for a while. You're going to be disappointed for a while. You're going to get close to some things for a while. And you just have to push past it. But if it was easy, everyone would do it.
Yeah.
It's not so easy. It's just like, here's a lovely house. Hey, do you want to buy it? Cool. There's so much more
don't
that
work
people
like
don't
that?
even realize.
Don't work like that?
Yeah. Not all the time.
Yeah.
But it's so much more. And, and so many people get into it and they don't last. And because they think it's going to be something different.
Yeah.
So I think that's as well as like some of the older real estate agents, they kind of see us newbies coming in. They kind of look at us like, how long are you going to last?
Yeah. Well, one person in particular always says that as a joke around our boardroom table. But no, definitely. And with the market being the way it is, I think it has been a good time to get into it. But again, I think you made some valid points about, when people are looking to make choices in what is such a hectic industry at the moment. But what are you sort of thinking or predicting or seeing in terms of the next year? Like how do you think the market's going to react?
Well, I think it'll be interesting. I mean, globally, there's a housing shortage. So, I mean, hopefully it'll start to balance out a bit more where it won't be so much of a seller's market. But we are seeing more things coming online and being priced fair. So I think, we just wait it out and people continue to get their pre-approvals and buyers continue to be prepared. And I think they'll succeed.
It's a good answer.
I think what we're going to see is going to continue, maybe not quite at the same pace by maybe the end of next year, but there's still just so many buyers out there who are just looking to park their cash because, we're going to see inflation go up. So they just want to park their cash somewhere that they're going to get a better rate than have it sit at the bank.
Yeah.
So all the people, there's people who've been looking for years and years and years just trying to buy something and they haven't. So I think we are going to continue to see like a hot market.
Nice. And so, I mean, I'm transitioning back a little bit, or I'm circling back, because there was a question that I wanted to have. But for people who's interested in becoming real estate agents, what are some of the skills that you guys have? I mean, we already actually touched on it, So what would be advice for anyone new trying to get into the industry?
What sort of attributes do you think they should have?
Skills, attributes. We touched on some points, but, we're just trying to share the experience of new agents to people who might want to consider being agents, and just letting people know, like, what's the one thing that you would say that people don't know about the industry?
Well, one thing that I would say, I listened to a podcast recently. Is the
Keys to the Rock or
It wasn't that one. It was the Luxury Institute of Real Estate, and it was Jack Miller. He was.
We're not.
We don't like those guys.
We're not going to ultra promote them.
No.
I don't.
Anyways.
Yeah, we'll cut that out. Amir, anyway, you listen to a podcast.
Big rivals.
Okay. But anyways, he was basically saying, don't chase numbers in real estate, focus on relationships. So I think that's the biggest advice that I would give to anyone. And the biggest skill for me coming into this from a hard sales background, I was like, okay, like I can do this. I can make the cold calls. I can reach out to people I don't know, no problem. But then like with the relationship building, it's always cultivating. It's reaching out. It's knowing people's birthdays. And it's an ongoing thing, It's not just a one-time transaction and then you forget about these people.
100%.
Yeah,
100%. When's my birthday, Thosh?
October 11th?
Ooh, close to yours, I think.
Yeah.
It's not.
Okay.
And Rachel, same question for you.
To piggyback on that, absolutely.
I thought you were asking when's your birthday.
When's my birthday today?
I don't know, mate.
Wow, terrible friends.
What's mine?
September
18th. Anyway,
18th. All right, yeah. Back to the podcast.
So, guys, back to the topic at hand instead of your birthdays. So the biggest takeaway that people have to understand about this industry is real estate is not a real estate business. Real estate is a relationship business. So yeah,
Taglines.
That's gonna be in the commercial.
Yeah.
I mean, people come in here and people talk about it and they're like, oh, I could be an agent. I'm good at selling. I could take this house and sell it, no problem. Like, no, you couldn't, first of all. Like, you think you can.
Humble.
But it's so much more.
Yeah.
There's two major facets to this that make this industry what it is and different from what people think it is one, again, like Thosh said, the relationships. You might not be my buyer now, but if I maintain this relationship over the year, I could sell you something, or you could list with me later on. Mm-hmm. Everything is relationships with other agents. Who's going to give you a look at their listing before it goes online? Who's going to make the time for you to get into their and bring your buyers, even if it's, at a co-broke agency? It's completely 100% about relationships, and I've had people that I've tried to they're like, oh, I'm looking for a house. I'm like, oh, I'll help you. They're like, oh, I work with so-and-so, so
The loyalty,
there's those loyalties. Like, some buyers are absolutely not loyal whatsoever. They'll work with any agent, and some are so loyal. And, at some point you will find your tribe of loyal people that when another agent goes to them to help them, they're like, nope, I only work with Rachel.
I love that.
But you have to really respect that, though. And I mean,
100%. Yeah. So then I would never stop. I'm like, yep, no, you do you. But I'll keep it in mind for what you're looking for, so that if I get a listing, I can reach out to their agent and tell them that I've got something for them.
There's a saying that obviously no agents own any buyers or renters looking. And I will say that, let's say it was Rachel, your best friend or something like that, and you showed them 20 properties, and I know that you're showing them properties, and then all of a sudden, because sometimes maybe buyers or renters don't know, they should always go through that agent to come to my properties.
Lack of education.
Sometimes I've actually had that person who I know is like your bona fide best friend or something like that, and you've been working really hard, even with other companies. Other companies doing the same sort of thing, and that buyer has reached out to me, and actually I've said to them, which sounds crazy because I'm cutting my lunch in half by doing so if they were to buy it.
Lunch?
But I said my commission.
I know.
Yeah. So, but I've said to them, like,
lunch.
actually, haven't you been working with XYZ, even at a different company? And the moment you tell that co-broke agent this situation, they're going to respect you endlessly, because Bermuda is such a small place and reputation there is everything. If you're going to try to, one up another agent or anything just to get one deal, it might sound, you're going to count your chickens for that.
Right?
It's a lot of money potentially to get two sides of a deal. But in the long term, if you're going to be a career real estate agent, you're going to lose out on so many different opportunities down the road. And I've experienced that when I was starting out, and now seeing other agents who did that for me. And it's just so important to always do things the best way possible, and even potentially against your own book of business at times for the relationships.
Yeah.
Nice.
But also, I just want, and then the second thing, sorry.
So it's twofold.
Sorry, I'm a talker.
Ben cut you
I'm
off.
going to talk again after.
Shocker.
And then, the second thing about this industry is also understanding the market. So it's not just about selling a house. It's understanding, okay, you get this listing or you're going to sell this house. What is the neighborhood doing? What is the market as a whole doing? You have to know everything about that house, about the market in general, about the neighborhood. Knowledge is key, because, it's not just about a house. Yeah. It's, people need to know this is the biggest investment of a person's life. That they're parking
just knowledge,
a ton of their money, if not all of their money, into one thing. They, you need to be able to communicate effectively what exactly they are buying, so they know, have an idea later on down the line. Are they going to get that money back? Are they going to lose? Are they going to, it's, what's,
yeah.
It's more than just selling houses.
No, for sure. And then, so I think we've touched on some great points, but I think the last thing, although Ben makes his Instagram look like one of those selling sunsets or one of those luxury $1 million, those TV shows, what would you say? Like, how is it different? Like, like skin in the game. How is it actually different from what people might watch on reality TV?
So I would say for me, I get actually a lot of compliments on my social media. For me, I have 3 things that I always post, whether it's Bermuda, it's myself or my family, and then I post listings, because, you want to post in a way that's very authentic, that people connect with.
Relatable, yeah.
Exactly. And you also want to educate people too. So I try to make it educational, but also entertaining.
And what's your Instagram?
So my Instagram is everything Thosh, but I may be changing it soon to Thosh the Realtor.
Okay.
But yeah, it's everything Thosh.
And you're on TikTok now too, which I think is the next thing. It's so important to stay ahead of the game. And some people are like, "Oh, Ben, I like your social media, but I do have a TikTok, but I've opened the account and there's nothing really on it." So it's so important to always look to the next thing, because even if there's a 12-year-old who's now on TikTok and that's what they do, if they're parents or in 15 years, if they're looking to buy, it's so important to create that level of branding to where in the future, people are always going to identify you, whether it's for them or their coworker, family member, when they're looking to make a move in real estate.
Definitely. But sorry, so how is it different from real estate TV shows?
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a lot more paperwork involved.
It's all the stuff
A
you
lot
don't
more
see, right?
paperwork
Yeah.
involved. It's slower paced. Just a lot more paperwork. You see people on there on the phones being like, "I'll give you $2.5 million," and then they're like, "Can you do 2.5?" It's like, "Oh, do 2.3. Can you do 2.3?" No, everything like that goes into paperwork that's signed, then emailed. It's less. I don't want to say, it's less glamorous. It's more professional and a lot more paperwork and processes and legalities and sort of less fun stuff that goes in, rather than just like, look at this amazing house.
They just see the
Everyone's throwing
highlights.
money.
Everyone
Yeah,
just sees the
exactly.
highlights on their shows. Yeah, no, for sure. Well, with that, are you good, Ben?
Yep, I'm great.
All right. Well, I'd like to thank Rachel Sawden and Thosh Williams for the time today. And feel free to reach out to them. We're going to put their emails somewhere around here, right, Amir? Yeah. Okay. And so we'll be back soon. Cheers.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having
Thank
us on.
you.
Thanks. Knowledge drop. Did you learn a lot? Did you learn a lot?
Honestly, I took in a lot. I took in a lot of information. I think it was necessary information that needs to be shared with the masses. So I'm happy that they could give that behind the scenes sort of scope of
the reality of what real estate is today, but especially for people, being a year roughly, give or take, in the industry. And
so they've seen the ups and downs, and they've got a great understanding of exactly how it is. And I'm excited for what their future holds, for sure. So one time big up to thank you to Rachel and Thosh for joining us today, and for sort of sharing their experiences. So much appreciated in that sense.
Absolutely.
So we're going to keep it very short. That's basically the end of the episode. I think we got some. We got to
keys
do our
to the episode.
Keys to the episode.
Yeah.
So what's your key? Go ahead.
I kind of like what Rachel said about, being a relationship-based business, and it is so very true. I think people sometimes think, a higher price point, technically better commission, that's more important. But really it is all about the relationships and the amount of transactions, right? So it sounds weird, but if you take care of your clients, commissions will always take care of themselves. So seriously, I would actually rather have two $500,000 sales than one $1.1 million sale. It sounds weird, but actually those two $500,000 sales, even though that totals to less than the other one, they will have friends, family, coworkers and things who through that good fostered relationship will recommend you. And it's always about the long term of real estate, right?
Exponential growth.
So,
No, for sure.
absolutely. So it's super important.
Nice.
What about you?
I think my key would be, I'm going to share similar sentiments to what Thosh was elaborating while was speaking on. And essentially, it's like the exam itself, the real estate exam and the academic side of things, doesn't necessarily teach you everything. That's about 10% of what actually goes on in the industry. So, the real life application side is if you're looking to get involved in real estate, find a culture, find a team, find someone.
Find
that
a good
will train
mentor.
You. Yeah,
I think it's so important.
Find people that will train you and will invest in you. Don't worry about the money side of it, but you have to be willing to understand that you're not gonna get, your pockets aren't gonna be fat instantaneously. So I think that's sort of my point that I hope to get across to the viewers.
And Thosh made a great point about that. So Daniel, certainly we like to talk about and highlight small businesses. Who would you like to kind of highlight now, or charities?
Yeah, this is well, for this one, it's not actually a business. I'd say it probably registers like a non-profit organization or MPO or something of that nature. And who we're going to talk about today is Bermuda's Love. So they're a great organization, and I'd say great. I've met some fantastic people Well, generally speaking, but these guys and the group that they have and what they do. So they run like basically like clothing drives, blood drives. They do
How long have they been
they do
in
cleanups
existing?
and stuff like that. They're probably, I would say, probably close to about a year.
Okay, wow.
Oh no, I donated blood with them about a year ago. So they've probably been about 2 years
And
since
that
the
blood
pandemic.
is athletic. That's
Yeah.
fast blood.
I couldn't donate blood again because
Too
my
fast, probably.
iron
Like,
or
you
something
know,
like that. Because
Everyone's going to be Flora Duffy after they get that blood.
Banter. But anyway, the point I'm trying to get across is Bermuda's Love, great organization. They put out a monthly schedule of things that they're doing.
They have an Instagram page. So
Instagram
look
page
them up.
that's probably in the corner or something like that. And I mean, they make it very easy for someone to get involved in doing some sort of volunteer work for a good cause. So they make it very, very easy, and they do all of like the background work and make it very easy. So love them. But so that's who we're highlighting this episode.
Awesome. Well, that's about it. I mean, it's been a great episode. Great to get back in the saddle, and we've got some really exciting things. Even another shoot coming up in a few days. So, thank you guys as well, as always, for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe.
And share.
Yeah.
And because I have to have the last word, as you guys know, one, reach out for any of your real estate needs. And lastly, big gratitude, thank you to our sponsors, because we finally got the wheels turning, and I appreciate CG Insurance, and I appreciate Greenlight, and everyone who's Greenlight Energy, and everyone who's teaming up with us, so you guys can continue to grow and continue to share the education and all of this side of real estate. It's just sharing knowledge, and that's all we're here to just be a channel to sort of push that out.
Absolutely.
So got the last word. Thank you. You guys have a great day. Not a great day. See you guys next episode. Episode 6.
Episode 6. Thanks.
Yeah.